This is a clip from the Red Cow Arcade podcast.
We both saw a movie called
Which one?
Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Oh, we did. I didn't even have that in my notes. I forgot that I watched it.
Really? Well, Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I've seen it like 6 times.
Oh, yeah. Your child likes it.
It turns out that my kid likes it. Yeah, which really shocked me because, well, give us your impressions of the film.
Well, it's just like I'm already, when you're doing like the meta story, I'm almost out. So
Yeah.
And not that I have like much affection for Chippendale Rescue Rangers. I definitely grew up in that era where there was Disney Afternoon. I did see it, but wasn't something that I have any sort of affection for. So when it's like the meta thing, that's not really that fun for me. Like, yeah, John Mulaney's Chip is just like, hey, everybody. He's got that sarcastic voice where and he's not like that great of a voice actor either. So he's like, I'm very sad. Like, Dale? It's like, okay.
Yeah, his bad voice acting, like, if that could have been improved, it would have improved my overall impression of the film by like 5%, probably 10% maybe.
Yeah. So, I mean, the timing of as a comedy, the timing I felt was very off. Like,
yeah,
there even jokes that I thought, oh, that seems like I could register that was a good joke, but the timing was so off that I was like, it didn't nail it. And that's basically editing because they're doing voice acting.
Right.
They could time that as best as they wanted, as they pleased. The animation was hit and miss because a lot of the 2D was actually 3D models cel shaded, which was distracting for me.
Right.
Especially when you come from something like Roger Rabbit, which has beautiful 2D animation.
Yeah.
And obviously this movie is inspired by Roger Rabbit, as referenced from the gag in the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it just felt like a lot of just, here's a reference, here's a reference, here's a reference. Oh, look, Beavis and Butthead in the background, or Beavis in the background, or Butthead in the background. Here's, there's Randy from South Park in the background. It's like a lot of references. The plot was interesting because of the whole, the bootleg thing, which it was just kind of funny because it's like, leave it to Disney to be like, the most important thing is don't steal our characters.
Yeah, the integrity of our copyright. Yeah,
the integrity of our copyright is the most important thing ever. But it still is a kind of a clever plot. But no,
you had said something like this feels like it was written by stupid millennials or something.
Yeah, and it was and. Andy Samberg and John Mulaney, and so
I wonder if did Seth Rogen have anything to do with this creatively?
I don't think so. I think he was just a voice.
He just was invited to participate.
Yeah, it was expected that he showed up.
Yeah, I'll be in it. Yeah, well, so when I saw the trailers, I was pretty oh, really? Especially coming off of, there was this DuckTales remake that I've watched with my kid that's very, very good. No kidding. It's very good. It's the Disney XD remake of DuckTales. And, it'd be one thing, I was talking to Nina about this, if they had I don't know, do you remember that show Bonkers? It was some kind of obscure Disney character. If you took some character like that never really had a great time in the sun or something, some relic, and then you kind of used him as a vehicle to do this kind of a concept, that'd be one thing. And it really is a washed up character or whatever. When there's no other way to reboot that character to make them interesting to an audience than to make some cynical movie about them. But Chippendale Rescue Rangers is not that.
Chip and Dale is already Rescue Rangers is already a reboot of a reboot. It's that was taking classic characters and recontextualizing them in a way. And so
that was weird. Yeah. Surrendering to let's just hijack our own property and, use it to do this. I thought that was strange. It was kind of squandering the IP, which of course would be apropos of the plot, as you pointed out. And I also, it's trying to be subversive and have that kind of subversive, cynical comedy thing that you see in self-referential media like Family Guy, or like adult cartoons and like Adult Swim type stuff. And it was interesting because it's PG straight through, but it has that kind of like subversive edge feeling to it.
Yeah, it definitely has like the edge to it. It feels like it's very much directed toward people our age, like our generation. It's interesting. That's why I thought it was interesting that Glow liked it, because I was like, when I was watching, I was like, who's this for besides somebody specifically my age?
Yeah, when I watched it in advance of showing her, and I was like, oh yeah, this is like not good. I thought some of it was clever or whatever, but I was like, this is not really going to play very well for my kid. And to me, like, the quickest way you can get me to like a movie is if my kid likes it. Because if she's like responding to it and she finds it like engaging, then I'm like, oh, there's something here. But sure enough, she thought it was, like their rap where they're going like, I would never eat whale. Like she walks around the house singing, I would never, never, never eat whale. And,
that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's like
funny.
That's a joke. I would be like, nope, that's not a joke for me. But I guess interesting.
Or like when Peter Pan turns into like that abomination at the end, and it goes meow, and she likes that, and I don't know. She. I think what it is that there's so much going on, and she knows that there's stuff going on. She's used to things like The Simpsons, and so she knows that there's beats that it makes her ask questions. And then when I watch it with her, I answer all of her questions, and then she goes, "Oh, so that's that kind of animation style. That's that kind of and then like so she can engage with it actually on the level that it was intended for." And then she's not a comedy snob like you and I are. And so she's like, yeah, I'll go.
The timing's off.
Yeah. But it's for sure, like if Seth MacFarlane had made this movie, it would have been, if Robot Chicken had made this movie, it would have been like way better and way funnier. And, but it felt more like, to me, Nina and I were like, doesn't it feel like the first joke? Like whatever, like the first joke that came to their head, they wrote.
Yeah,
down.
like they were riffing, and they took the first draft of the riff.
Yeah, and then
it's interesting because it was like, I think it was directed by the Lonely Island guys, and I've liked their stuff. I think that's really funny. I love a lot of their shorts and comedy, and so I feel like it should be better than it is. I don't know why it isn't.
I mean, upon repeat viewings, I'm not going to say that like it's good, but it did feel like somebody wanted to make the movie.
Well, that's true. I would say that's completely true. Well, it's not for me. It's there is vision here.
Yeah, they
wanted to hijack this property to do this, and Disney said yes.
Yeah, exactly. But there's until Gloria liked it, I was very judgmental. I was very like, so you're just gonna a bunch of people that probably don't even have kids, like Seth Rogen type people, are gonna be like, let's hijack it and make it cynical, and in a way steal it from children. But she liked it. She thought it was funny. There was the occasional joke that got me for sure, like Gadget being like, we're not going to invest in your independent film projects, Dale, and stuff. Some of that stuff I thought was a little bit clever.
And although it's overplayed on the internet, Ugly Sonic sure was a good gag.
Oh, I thought that was by far the funniest.
It's clever.
It was like funny enough. It didn't really get like a laugh out loud from me until he said, like, going fast, that's Sonic's thing. Sonic goes slow, baby. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah.
And Gloria, like, gets it. She was like, ew, his human teeth, because she hears it from the movie. So now you got, like, a 4-year-old walking around being like, ugly Sonic's human teeth. Like, on message with the meme. It reminded me a little bit of, like, a few years ago, Brian Henson made a movie that was critically panned. I mean, people hated this fucking thing with Melissa McCarthy called The Happy Time Murders.
Oh, I remember that. Like, I remember the trailers for that.
And I mean, talk about subversive. I mean, that was like very R-rated. They're like puppets jizzing all over each other and stuff. It was like very over the top.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I
gotta tell you,
that.
yeah, people hated it. People thought it was like terrible. I thought it was kind of funny.
Of course.
Because it is puppets and they are jizzing on each other. And I guess one thing you can say for this Chip and Dale movie is it at least did market itself as what it is,
Yeah. Yeah, no, there was no bait and switch there.
Yeah, it was like come and watch the meta Rescue Rangers movie,
Yeah.
And I think that in the second half, it gets like you can tell that the writing's half baked. It goes like almost full chaos in the second half.
Yeah.
You're like, what the hell's going on after a while here? But I actually like if all you want out of your multiverse movie is cheap cameos and chaos, you might find that here in the Chippendales movie.
Oh. I didn't quite enjoy it, but I understand why a child might like.
Yeah. Oh well, and then we did. I told her the story of Roger Rabbit, and she was like, "Let's watch that." We got like 65% through it, and she was enjoying it. And then she like tapped out. She's like, "I'm done."
Yeah.
And I'm watching. And I'm going like, man, like Robert Zemeckis is a genius. The movie is just so visually brilliant. The jokes are so nuanced. I don't know, like even just simple stuff like when Eddie Valiant says to Betty Boop, he's like, "She's married to Roger Rabbit," and she goes, "Yeah, what a lucky goyle." It's a really, really good movie. It's somebody had asked like, "Hey, how does Rescue Rangers, compare to Roger Rabbit?" And I was like, it's kind of like asking like, so Hot Tub Time Machine, like how does it compare to Back to the Future? Like, hey, Turkish Star Wars, how does it compare to Star Wars?
Yeah.
Well, it's one of them is like a top 100 film of all time, and one of them is the new Chippendale movie. But yeah, she prefers the Chippendale movie to Roger Rabbit because she's an idiot.
Well, yeah, that's as children are.
Yeah, that's the only time I get very abusive. My dad used to fly off the handle if I spoke against the classics.
Don't you dare get Chip and Dale out of your mouth.
Please get out of here. Start doing voice. He would do voices.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.